Let me set the scene for you. It was the darkest hour. The wind howled, the stars had abandoned the night sky. It was dark, and lightning was streaking in the air, immediately followed by loud claps of thunder. Shadows writhed at the feet of the mountains, and the air hung heavy with doom, foreboding, and the collective scent of several thousand unwashed orcs. And yet, from the gloom, hope emerged. Aragorn, son of Arathorn, heir of Isildur, Legolas, son of Thranduil, and Éomer of the Rittermark, and Prince of Rohan. Together, they surged forward with grim determination, fighting thousands upon thousands of Uruk-hai in the Battle of Helm's Deep. And when things looked at their bleakest, the text tells us a vitally important note about the severity of the situation. With a gravity only Tolkien could write with, he says, Aragorn and Legolas went now with Éomer in the van. On through the dark night they rode, ever slower as the darkness deepened, and their way climbed southward, higher and higher into the dim folds about the mountain's feet. Why didn't anyone tell me they had a Honda Odyssey in The Lord of the Rings? Well, that at least changes the mood. You see, I approached this passage expecting high fantasy, swirling maelstroms of swords and sacrifice, the noble weight of duty and the galloping hooves of justice. But then, smack in the middle of all this Tolkien grandeur, came the phrase, in the van. And like any modern day mortal whose brain has been marinated in road trips, soccer practice, and Google Maps, I pictured Aragorn in a minivan. Suddenly, Helm's Deep wasn't under siege. It was somewhere off exit 7, with a suspicious clunking noise in the back wheel, and your parents getting in a fight about finding a place to eat or going to a rest stop again. Aragorn is in the driver's seat, stoic as ever, hands at 10 and 2, saying things like, Legolas, can you pass me the GPS? Legolas is in the passenger seat, reclining slightly, sipping Lembas tea. I don't know really what that is, but that's the only thing that I could really think of. Or maybe the Miravor, that's better. Scrolling through Yelp, and he's trying to find orc-free rest stops. And Éomer is in the back seat trying to make the Bluetooth connect to the stereo so they can play Rohan's greatest hits. They're not charging toward battle. They're merging onto the expressway of destiny, the sliding door slightly ajar. Now this hilarious detour, pun fully intended, shows us a magical thing. That words change, and I've made a few essays about this, one that people liked and one that people hated. One about the quick duck, and I'm not even going to mention the other one. You can go on the YouTube channel and find that one if you want. To Tolkien, van meant vanguard, the front line, the first brave souls to meet the enemy and give the rest of the army a fighting chance. It's a word of valor, of risk, and leadership. To us, it's a vehicle that smells faintly of raisins and regret. And once that image settles in your brain, it cannot be shaken, at least for me. From now on, Helm's Deep is not defended by grim riders of Rohan, but by a squad of elven dads and heirs to the throne chauffeurs in metallic blue Siennas with the second row captain's chairs and a rear entertainment system for the hobbits. Same word, vastly different vibes. And I even like the idea that this is like the 70s and they're all in this like stoner van, just letting the time pass between waves of Uruk-hai. And to be honest, isn't that the true magic of language? That at the same time, these syllables can conjure an image of gallant riders storming into battle or a caravan of heroes stuck in traffic behind a horse-drawn cart with a broken taillight. Imagine Frodo and Sam overhearing the phrase and whispering, "They took the van, that's efficient." And this puts to rest the biggest idea about Lord of the Rings. Why didn't they just take the Eagles? Now my question is, why didn't they just take the van the whole way? I can picture Gimli grumbling. They better not have taken my ox gourd again. Now, let's not pretend we're above this. Us 21st century mortals are tragically afflicted with the curse of context. We've been conditioned by suburban life. We hear van and immediately our minds don't soar with images of battlefield strategy. We picture beige upholstery, goldfish crackers and cup holders, and a weird sticky spot no one really remembers creating. So when Tolkien tells us our noble trio rode in the van, our imaginations do the only thing they can. They put Aragorn in cargo shorts, Legolas adjusting the mirrors, and Éomer sighing as the door jamb beeps for the 50th time. And this is the tragedy, that this is also the comedy. This is linguistic entropy. that language has to change and adjust. And sometimes we read things in the past and they mean something totally different from what they meant back then. And I think it's fun to laugh about that every once in a while. So next time you read Tolkien or any epic tale, remember, language evolves. And with it are interpretations. What was once the stuff of high fantasy might now park itself firmly in the realm of slapstick. Aragorn and company probably weren't carpooling into the battle with a 2005 Dodge Caravan with Elvish decals, but who's to say, really? So let this be a cautionary tale for all readers. Words are sneaky. They change clothes when you're not looking. They show up to epic fantasy dressed like they're headed to Costco. When Tolkien wrote Van, he meant a brave vanguard. When we read Van, I hear the GPS say, recalculating the route to Isengard. Who's wrong? None of us, but also, yes, I am wrong deeply in this, but here's to my misreadings, modern mind, and the magic of a good laugh in a very old sentence. Now, buckle up. Middle Earth, we ride at dawn, unless the traffic's bad.